All right. Just in case nobody knows me, Natalie Kimura. I am the Western District Vice President of Special Projects for the Western District. I am from the Omicron chapter at the University of Utah.
I am AJ Gagaza, the Western District member at large. I am from the Iota Alpha chapter at Fresno State University. Yeah, I'll get this Twitter chat started, and we will be good to go.
Hello.
Alrighty, I gotta sign in. Here we go. Well.
What? I can't.
Oh no, I'm good. You can go. So Natalie, if you want to start with some ways we can, what's it called? We can take down history, or ways we can use history.
Take down history. But I know Brittany, but hi.
Oh, hi.
You want to introduce yourself again? Or you want to introduce yourself first?
I'm Brittany. I'm from Iota Kappa.
Hey.
Hi. Okay.
Yeah, the first thing we want to talk about is like, how do you take down history? What do you do to do it for your chapter? Brittany, would you like?
Oh, for me? Okay.
Yeah.
So far, I've used like video. I haven't gotten so much into the written history yet, which is what I'm hoping to hear about from some of you guys.
Yes. There's lots of things to use for history. Videos and the written thing are good as well. And another thing I think people don't really think about is social media, because that's a combination of both.
Yeah.
Like, I now being in this organization for 5 years, I recommend getting a fan page, because that way you can the public what service projects, degrees that are going on. It's like a good neutral way to show off what you're doing for your chapter besides doing it with pictures and videos and stuff. It's like a easier alternative to do that. And I think it's just a great, easy way. Also having a website, that helps too. And Twitter. I've seen people or chapters use Twitter. I'm not the biggest Twitter user, but that's been useful too, because Kappa Kappa Psi definitely uses it, and Tau Beta Sigma uses it. The national councils. There we go. And that's something I definitely recommend now. I wouldn't have done that at the beginning of all this, because social medias are, well, social. So I think it's interesting. And hello! I don't know you, but hi! What's your name and what chapter are you from? I can't hear you. Still can't hear you. I think you might have to re-enter.
Yeah. He's Oregon State, right? Oregon State. Theta.
Yeah!
Anyways.
AJ, how does your chapter do it?
How just take history in general, or how do we like discuss stuff? We have a historian alumni secretary, and they deal with so all the history, all the picture taking. Plus, they deal with like all the alumni side. They deal with getting information out to alumni earlier. And something we really started utilizing recently was our alumni.
Yeah.
Just for recognition and stuff, just because word of mouth only travels so far. And so, having, like, we have, like, chapter activities that there's alumni still in the area and they're the alumni who created that activity. And so we use them through our historian alumni secretary to kind of figure out how things are done or how they used to be done or what we can do to improve them. But we have that Facebook page, and we have everybody who's ever been through both chapters. So we have a joint page in Fresno State, and then we have a brother page. I think the sisters have a sister page, and then there's an alumni page that just our historians do. So alumni Facebook just doesn't get cluttered with everyday type of business stuff. Um, but definitely utilizing our officers, and they take like pictures for like scrapbooks, and at the end of every year they put together a scrapbook, and um, our membership classes they put together a joint scrapbook of their candidate semester, and so
Yeah.
that kind of like does the service or does the history side of it for us. And by them doing and creating, that type of scrapbook, uh, it gives like future classes down the road to look back and see how different their candidate semester is from a class 12 years ago type stuff.
That's cool. How much history do you have from Iota Alpha and Eta Omega?
Like
Almost.
how far does it go back?
Yeah, I'm curious.
We have everything from our founders. So 1988. Yeah.
What does that include?
It includes. I mean, we have every brother. At least on the brother side, we have every brother who's gone through with their big brother, their little brother if they took one. So everything's charted by who took who and stuff like that. And something that we just kind of do for fun is like right now, like I have a little brother this semester, um, and the big line that we're in the big family has like 100 members in it. In a way that we kind of remember them is we memorize the order of who took who, and so it's memorizing 100 names in a specific order and stuff like that. It's actually really fun for the big brother and the candidate, but having all that written down so you can go back and be like, oh, I met this alumni this weekend, and here was his real name, and then they would just take their real name and go to our website, and it has every brother's real name and nickname to figure out what the nickname is, and then they would take it over to the lines that are all spread out to see how they're related to them or how many classes have been since they've been through. But we have enough. We still have alphas that are teaching like 5 minutes from campus,
Wow.
so we can go and talk to them when we need to. Our historian alumni secretary did a really awesome thing this year, which is really cool. He did alumni AMAs, and one of our founders who's been in the area for a couple years, I mean, they have families and stuff like that, so they don't come around as often as they like. But he came in on a weekend, and we had like 8 or 9 brothers sit in our meeting room with him, and it was just ask any questions of whatever you want. And I think they asked stuff like, how was it starting a chapter? How was it getting, the support from the bands, support from the department, stuff like that. How did this activity become what it is? How did the nicknames come to be? How did the jerseys come to be? And we have all these alumni who were there in our position just 20 years prior, and so
Yeah.
we're really fortunate that we not rely on them, but kind of fall back on them for that kind of information. And I think, it's obviously a lot harder with a lot of the older chapters or chapters who were on hiatus for a couple of decades, or even a couple of years, because
Yep.
word of mouth changes. I mean, because I've heard the same thing that you always hear people who say, "Oh, but we've always done it this way. We've always done this activity this way. We've always done, bid selection or anything like that this way." And for me, hearing that from people who went through after me, like a lot of the younger, newer kids, it's like, no, we didn't always do it that way. We've just done it that way this last couple semesters because it's worked for the chapter. But I mean, that's kind of like the biggest example I see of when you hear someone say, we've always done it this way, and that's how word of mouth history, like taking down history can change.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So your chapter really loves to do it by word of mouth.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
That's very lucky and very fortunate. It's like, I wish I had that advantage. But our band program is connected with my chapter, and since our band just banded in the 70s, the chapters died as well, and then we came back. Because the band program came back in mid-90s, but my chapter came back in 2003, so we're very recent still.
Right.
So we have like this disjointed history going on, and it kind of sucks because all the people that would have been members in in my chapter would have been what? They're 70s, 80s now, if we were looking for them. But that's another big topic that I think it's really important is talking to your alumni or finding any alumni in your area if possible, or even just reaching out. I know that our secretary just got an email from somebody in Texas talking about my chapter, and we weren't expecting that because you never know what you're going to find. She's like, yeah, go band! And because they can have a lot of stories and a lot of history that can help you or change whatever's going on in your chapter or help you with what's going on in the chapter because they have gone through the same issues. Those same issues come back time and again, if that makes sense. But I wanted to finally talk to, it said Cade.
If you can hear me.
Yes, I can.
Nice. Okay. Yes, this is Cade. I'm with the Theta chapter.
The Theta.
There you go. Yeah.
Hey. And you're the historian?
I am the historian, yes.
Cool. So what do you do to take down history in your chapter? I'm curious.
Well, we're currently, last year we didn't actually have a historian. Really. So I'm kind of trying to get this going from scratch.
Oh.
Basically what I'm doing. Right now, usually just, I know you guys are talking about alumni. Usually, I think the way we have it set up right now is that the alumni secretary deals with that, and they have that all sorted out.
Or you can get help from the alumni secretary.
Hmm?
You can work together with your alumni secretary.
Yeah, we're in the middle of multiple projects, so that hasn't happened yet. But what we're doing right now is first of all, we haven't scrapbooked in like 3 years, from what I understand. I was actually just asking our former historians if they ever did that. Right now, what I'm working on is getting is recording our history of the band itself, because I figured I'm a history major, just for the record.
Oh, it's perfectly.
Yeah. So what I'm doing right now is trying to work with one of our alumni to create a narrative of how the chapter and the band have kind of evolved in Oregon State over time. So we're working on that right now. We go through the archives at our library, and we have a lot of information on past chapters that we had in the 30s, and then our band dating back to 1897, something like that. So that's currently what we're working on.
That's a very big project.
Yeah, it's kind of. I don't have a lot to tell you because it's kind of
Everywhere.
up in the air right now. We're just trying to. I'm still scrambling to get everything back together. So
I know, like once you have it ready, like it's gonna make like a big difference. Like Theta's pretty old.
Well, yes and no. Yes and no.
No?
We were disbanded in, I think, the 60s, the 70s, and we were only recently reinstated in like 2006 or something like that. So we're pretty new-ish.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And you didn't do scrapbooks you said in 3 years?
Yeah, so I don't know what the deal is. I was just initiated last year, so I'm still working out what's gone on in the past couple of years. I don't know. I know 2 years ago there wasn't a lot of record keeping going on, and I don't think the scrapbook was really touched. And then last year we had a historian who then went inactive effectively. And we didn't have a historian for a year. We had a stand-in, but that was also kind of up in the air. So I'm trying to get things back on track right now. So,
Well, I understand this completely. I just got initiated for TBS, and I became the historian, and I was in the same exact spot because they were kind of keeping records of what's going on, but they didn't pass it on to like the new people that were coming into the chapter. So I started from scratch. They gave me stuff, but it didn't make sense because I didn't get instructions of like what was going on. So it sounds like you already have a great start, but I would definitely start talking to as many people as you can. I mean, you already started with alumni, but I would talk to like the chapter members that maybe were active and maybe just left. I would be emailing them too. They know what's going on.
I have contact with a couple of people that have been in the chapter for 4 years. So I've asked them about it, and it's a work in progress, but it's going well. We have like in the band history project for history of Oregon State bands, we have some like 8 pages of material that we've put together already.
Wow.
Going well.
Have you been working on this project then? What have you been doing for active like activities, I guess? Like
Mostly just
typical photos or
so it's we take photos first of all. One of the things I was trying to reintroduce, I don't know if we ever had it in the nationals or in district or even in our chapter, but I was trying to get our officers to keep records of their activities so we could have them and then we could optimize them as time went on.
Yeah.
Which is another thing that's
not been easy.
Well, hopefully it'll work. I mean, by the end of the year, I hope that we will have something to work with at least. So.
Well, I know the answer always is Google.
Yeah.
That is. Google has saved so many chapters and so many people. But I'm sure you're just starting with that.
Yeah.
It's not easy at all to keep it all record because I know some chapters have done binders. I know for like changes in leadership, they would have like a whole half semester for the new officers to just hang out with the old ones to see how they do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like another thing of like keeping records of what's going on. So they get the experience to do it, and then the old members can just go and give them whatever they did for their office. And people don't think about it, but that's a part of history too. And that's really important because how are you supposed to continue whatever progress you've been doing with your chapter? How are you supposed to know? AJ?
Yeah, I mean, we're working on it. So
yeah.
Get back on our feet.
That sounds like a lot of stuff. If you need help.
We're good for now. We're good.
I'm surprised you don't have a committee with that project, honestly.
We do. We have like 3 committees dedicated to that project.
Oh, that's right. I keep forgetting you're like 50 people.
Yeah.
That's like...
Well, I split it up So specifically, so we could have a research committee that would go to the archives and do research, and then like a processing committee that we could review what we found and get rid of stuff we don't want, and
Yeah.
then another committee dedicated to just other things, they're history related. So I mean, we have a lot of people to work with, so we can get a lot of stuff done. It's really nice. So
You're doing this on top of everything else. That's just so much.
yeah,
Insane. Okay. Um, did you looked like you wanted to say something.
I was gonna say Brittany looked like she wanted to say like there's something like
Oh, I'm sorry.
maybe. Did you have something, Brittany?
No, I
Oh,
was listening.
sorry. I have a question for both of you guys. My question is, what is now with at least without Alpha's candidate process, membership process, they have to know like school history, not necessarily band history, but like school history. Is that something that you guys do as well as part of your process, or do you guys just focus on chapter and like band history?
school history is in our own schools, I take it, and not the founding school.
Okay.
That was the question.
Yeah, wait. Sorry, repeat that one more time.
I'm assuming you're referring to our schools and not the founding school.
Both, because we do like the school overall, and then we have like the school of music type stuff, where it's like, like Fresno State was founded in 1911, like as a school, and then like, 1953 we moved to a new location and stuff like that, and we talked about like the first like director of bands we had, and so it starts with like school history, and then it develops into band history, which in turn develops into chapter history. And I was just curious if anybody else does that, if that was just something we did.
Well, I know when I was initiated, it was touched on. We did talk about the history of the Oregon State Band, and then we talked about the history of Kappa Kappa Psi being founded. But as I recall, that was about it. We don't currently. We have a lot of stuff that's just in the archives,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't have like a anything that overviews it. So it's kind of difficult to cover that stuff other than like, yeah, the band was founded in 1890. It is 1891, by the way. Band was founded in 1891, and then Kappa Kappa Psi was formed in 1919, and that's about all we can. So, yeah.
I think the next thing was we kind of talked about what we as individuals for our chapters use for service or for history and like taking down history. Um, and Nat and I were talking about it earlier about like some other like really everyday type items you could use to take down history. Obviously like a camera and stuff like that, but we even brought up stuff like the use of Google Docs, because at this rate Google is never going anywhere, and with how, because I think it's like with every like email you sign that you have, like that's an additional like 30 gigs of data you have that you like storage and stuff, and I think like even if it's just something as simple as um, what is like a big if you're like, oh no, some chapters do like if you want to be a big like fill out this form type stuff and then meet with like the VP type thing. um, we did that for a couple semesters, and I think we lost the form like the original and couldn't remember, and like we were thinking like, man, if it had just been on a Google Drive that the chapter shares, we'd be able to have it still. And I think that something as simple as Google Drive, Google Docs, Sheets, even Google Forms, is a good way to like take on history because it's always going to be there. And then there's always like the Microsoft Office and Excel, Word, stuff like that. But I think having a a central location where anybody can access it who has the proper access. If it was by email or by um, login type stuff. Do you see what I'm saying? Like I feel like that's like I'd never really thought of using that as a tool for history. More I used it more of like a I just used it a lot for school, and I think that that'd be a great place to take down, I guess, like important chapter stuff, or school stuff until recently, when I started using it more. But the big thing we talk about is like scrapbooks and like alumni, and like those are really great tools and all. And I think those are like fantastic tools. But I never thought of using Google Drive until recently, um, and all this Google stuff. But yeah, I think that's like another. And if either of you guys use that, I know Natalie, I think, uses it maybe. If either of you guys use it, anybody uses it, and wants to talk more about that and what is possible, what the possibilities are with that, I'm totally cool with that.
Okay. I'll go ahead. So, I mean, again, this is a work in progress. The end goal right now that I would like to see um, historians of future classes of our chapter do is keep the histories in two separate places. Um, Obviously, one of the key components of history is record keeping. And the way I would have liked to have it set up would be to have a binder dedicated to keeping records of activities that the chapter and committees have done over the course of a couple of years, which we could then set aside and get a new one and keep in um, either somewhere in the music building or in the archives where we could access it. But we also do use Google. Google is a very good way to put the information up publicly where people can see it from anywhere instead of having to go look for it or ask someone for it. One of the things I'm working on right now is creating a reference guide for the band history project. So that way I can have a Google Drive set up, and it's a document that lists the sources of important dates and events that have happened in the chapter's history here or in the Oregon State Band's history. So that way future historians can access the Google Drive from anywhere and be able to say, I'm looking for this piece of information, where did it come from? And then find it on the drive and then be able to go find the original source back in the archive. That's currently what's going on. Google Drive is also a good way to, if anyone was interested in creating a narrative of the history of the band or the chapter, Google Drive would be a good place to do that because you can constantly edit it as information changes and as you learn more. So.
Awesome. That's cool. Natalie, do you have anything, or Bernie, either of you
Oh,
guys?
I had a question. If you said you're looking for like a place to keep references, do you have like a space or a storage? I don't know, a classroom or something that keeps like all random stuff in your building or in like your music building or something? Because I know I don't have that, and I know Boise State has that because I've been there. And I just was curious, like you had a physical place to like keep all this stuff as well as like having it electronically. I just was wondering.
Very certain, yes. I mean, there's a library in Benton that holds all of our music, first of all, but I do believe it also holds like old stuff from past bands. So, and it's not a very large library, which is why I also bring up the archives, because my ideal world would be like every decade or so you could transfer everything that was in the Benton Library to the archive and then recycle it.
Yeah, we kind of have the same thing. The department has actually been very gracious and given us a, there was a in our we have our old music building at State, and in our old music building, they gave us an old professor's office, and we've had it as long as we've been around, so far as I've known. But in it has like a desk, and it has like, I mean, that's where we like the brothers keep like our ritual chest like locked up, and the sisters have their ritual chest locked up, and it's a joint office that has it holds all of our joint stuff, all the sister stuff, all the brother stuff. It has all of our scrapbooks up on the bookshelves above all the storage. We have files that go back, and it has like candidates, every candidate who's been through their final test is archived there. So when I first became active, I found that out, and I was like, oh, I want to go see what my high school band directors, like one of our techs who went to Fresno State, who has a brother, you see what he did on his final test and what he put for answers. And it's kind of like a public place where we can, well, it's not necessarily answers, it's just like, we have a lot of like essay questions on our final test, of like how, like our self-reflection type stuff. And you can go back and see like that maybe some of the same stuff you were going through as a candidate, like they went through when it comes to like bonding with your class or stuff like that. But we have that office that we utilize. Some of the officers, like all the officers, I believe have keys, or if not, it's just the president, VP, and then the social chairs, which is also the ritual chairs. And we go in there, and I've done homework in there. I've done a Google Hangout in there, done a couple meetings in there, and it's really cool to be in that room. And it's a small room, but it has like all the active pictures as dating as far back as we started taking them, or as many as we can find. It has, all the convention placards that we've been present at, every Western District convention, and I think National Convention placard. Every convention we've been present at, we brought the placard home and we put the placard in the office. So we have a whole wall of placards, and like any awards the chapters won, and that just kind of goes in with with all of our ritual stuff and our joint ritual stuff. So we're lucky enough to have that room that's completely separate from another closet that the department has given us, that we have all of our service stuff, and that's like completely packed. But the main office that we use, like I said, it holds, I found like a first or a copy of the podium from like the 80s, or was the baton? It was a different publication back then, but we have like the accent and like a hard copy from like the 90s or like early 2000s. We have like books of convention minutes. Like I'm talking like you go to the bookstore to get like a lab manual, and it's like a lab manual of convention minutes from like 1998. And it has I found something in there that was like flashcards for remembering all the chapters in the Western District, and it had their chapter, the school mascot, the average size of the marching band per year, and then the chapter's mascot information, which I thought was really cool because we have all these mascots that we see at district events, but I didn't know any of the names of them, and it had like a short bio of each mascot, and I thought it was really cool because it was always right there, and I didn't know about it until I did some digging. So, now to answer your question, yes, Fresno State also has a room that we utilize. We should be using it more than we do, but
like seriously, we don't have that at my school at all. We have our own school of music, and it's like a big school of music, and there's no place to keep our stuff. So I know our historian, or history chair now, that's what it's called, just gets to hold on to all of our scrapbooks, all of our awards, all the things we've gotten in the past 12 years, and we still don't have a place for it. So it's nice to hear, like, it sounds like they're in a safe, dry place, so they won't be harmed. If only you could, like, display that stuff. You don't have, like, a glass display to show off stuff, or
We have
like
our
that?
chapter board.
Just the board? Or, oh, yeah, we have a board, but you can't put awards.
Yeah, and something we thought about doing, which we actually thought was a really, really cool idea. We have a Phi Mu Alpha chapter and a Sigma Alpha Iota chapter here with us. So we have the four organizations. So it's really cool to work with them and do history stuff with them, and kind of, we're slowly starting to work more and more with them. But Phi Mu Alpha just got a brand new board that like closes and it's like encased, but it's hanging on the wall, so they can put up pictures in there without them like falling off or getting damaged. Or and the reason they had to get a new board was because someone vandalized their board, which was awful. But they have that case now that they can put stuff in, and we put as much stuff as we can on our board. That's like that we know is not going to get like taken down, or do you know what I'm trying to say? Like we try to show as much as we can on there without the risk of it falling off or getting damaged. But no, I know Lambda Psi has like a full like case. They have their stuff, and it honestly looks like a small box office, and
Wow.
it has like their mascot that could sit in there if they wanted to, and it has like all their photos and other stuff like that. But yeah, I know Lambda Psi has like a public viewing thing for theirs, which is cool.
Brittany, you've been kind of
Yeah.
quiet. What do you do to keep all this stuff? I know you have a building like just dedicated to like, dare I say band? Or is it
Yeah, that was the band hall that we
okay?
were in for Idaho. But in there, like in the lobby, we have a display case, and that's where we keep our awards that we get from district um, events, and then we also have pictures of third degree from like the past. I think right now it's like the past 8 classes we have up there, and we just me and part of the history committee just redid the display case like a month ago. That was fun. But we also have we have like little plaques of awards that we give to other band students, um, and we have that in there. And as for like storage, we don't actually have like a room or an office. I currently have history stuff, and funny thing, our historian from last year has like the rest of it, and I haven't gotten it from him yet.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, storage space is actually kind of an issue. I know that it's just a huge tub for my chapter. I don't know what to do about it. Like it literally just carries everything, but it's such a pain in the butt to haul everywhere. We're figuring it out. We want like an archive room or something in our main library. We have like 5 libraries, more than 5, more like 10 libraries or something like that on our campus. That would be like another option to look into, is getting that. Like my school is just old as balls, but that would be another option to like keep your history or find a way so you don't always have to haul it everywhere, because once your chapter gets old enough, you just start to accumulate stuff. And you should just find a neutral spot or like I would say a community place for your stuff, because it's a lot of stuff to carry. A lot of stuff to hold on to, because I know that at one point a lot of people lost a lot of records in my chapter, and that's like a huge fear, is just losing it all. But that's why you also should keep an electronic trail of your records, or start to do that now, obviously with Google, and maybe even start family trees somewhere, like keep a Excel sheet for your family trees, because I know that's how I started with the family trees. I had to go through scrapbooks because we were lucky enough to keep scrapbooks. That's like the only thing we kept though, and it was very difficult because their handwriting wasn't very easy to read. But it definitely was a starting point to keep records of it, and then I could transfer all that stuff onto another format so people can hold on to it. And Google definitely helped with that because it continued with the next historian after that, and then they didn't have to start over every time with that sort of stuff. But that's like a whole other thing is family trees. Sorry, did you want to say something? I don't know, somebody wanted to say something.
I apologize. I was being interrupted.
Oh, wait. So you wanted to say, or no? I was just saying for family trees. Well, that was the hard part for my chapter. We didn't keep records of family trees. We basically had to keep searching through every track of material you could have. We had like old officer archives that were meaningless to us. We had got like advertisements, membership forms, membership tests. Like we didn't had no idea. There was no context given for that, and it was really difficult to find out what was going on. What did they do? And like a couple years ago, because it didn't make sense to us, and you just had to like keep digging and digging. And when I say digging, not only with your chapter stuff or your school stuff and your alumni, you should be digging through district stuff as well, because sometimes they have hidden jewels that will help you with your own history. I know I use like the Western District history document, history book, or something like that, and it had like some important facts that you could just forget, and they can be very useful. And even just on top of that, I remember interviewing district officers, past district officers, and I think I even tried doing a national officer once. Anyways, that was just like, AJ,
Sorry, you said family trees, and I just looked back through something. I'm gonna
what?
share my screen real quick. I want you guys.
What?
This is what I was talking about. Can you guys see this?
No.
Uh,
Uh,
you see those blue and red dots?
yes.
The blue dots are sisters, and the red dots are brothers. And the arrows, if I can zoom in, yeah, okay. So like, the arrows are their to their littles. It goes to their littles. So like, you can see like this is how, I mean, we kind of had this already in place for us, but you can see everybody who's gone through, like, for instance, I can't zoom out. No. Uh anyways, but do you guys see the red and yellow dot, the red and blue dot or circles, and it has the arrows? This was created on a program called Graviz, I think. Um, but that's what we use. Here we go. There's the full thing. And this is what we use to take down information, and it's all the way up to through our recent class, down at
Can
the
you
bottom.
AJ, can you put that in the doc?
Yes.
History doc.
Yeah, there we go right here. Okay.
I don't have that website.
So, I'm just gonna put it in the chat. You guys should be able to pull that up on the side. And I'll share with it. I'll share it when I post these.
Or the website. What's the website's name?
Huh?
What's the website's name? Like when you create that.
Oh, geez, I'd have to ask one of our old historians. He just redid this semester. I think it's called Graviz, Graphiz.
Graphiz.
I think this is how you spell it.
Um,
Traffic. I'll ask and I'll let you guys know what he says. But yeah, like you can see, we do it by nickname. Um, and like if you like, you'll see, like for myself, I'm looking at myself right now, and I have, my arrow going to my little sister, my two arrows going to my two active little brothers, and then, pending, and then after third degree, I'll have another arrow going to my new little brother, and so it just automatically gets updated as soon as the new kids go through, and that's something that. It's honestly, it's like everybody is connected somehow, weirdly enough, just because our joint chapters have been so big. Um, but yeah, so I thought I might share that because you said family trees and that sparked interest. Get a picture of this.
and I think I found this site. Let's see if I can get it. My computer's really, really slow. It's really slow. It's coming. This is what popped up. I don't know if this is correct.
Uh, might be it. Yes, this is it.
You can download it for free.
I believe so. I'm gonna check first with our old historian and see what he used. I'm gonna text him right now. See what he used for this. I know we used to use Gravids, but it involves coding, and coding really, to me, coding's not friendly.
Because I know another website, but you can't download it for free. This is it. It's like just like that one,
Okay.
where you can put family trees online. You just can't download them for free, unfortunately. But
Right. No, totally. But yeah, historians, if this is something that you guys want to utilize, I know I've seen pictures of Natalie, writing stuff on a mirror in the library of her whole family tree, kind of tracing stuff back. I know a lot of the order of actives that have gone through and now alumni. But if you guys need, um, Natalie and I are here to help you guys with whatever you guys need to the best of our ability. So if you guys want to sit down on like a one-on-one hangout and we can go over, stuff like this, that's totally cool. Just let us know. You have a lot of information. I think all of it. But yeah, I just wanted to share that because I thought it would be cool to show. I mean, like I said, I'm not a fan of coding, so it's really frustrating for me to do. But for people who find it really easy or enjoy it, it's a good tool. So yeah.
to show for another example, I'm going to show you what I started off with, because this is, I don't know, this was easiest for me. If I can find it, I'm looking through the Omicron's website right now. I know they're in here somewhere. Oh, there we go, family tree. This is just an Excel chart that's been updated with our current history. This to show you, for example, that you don't have to do it. I mean, it's really cool to see the family trees, but it's not. It takes time to figure out to make it look that pretty. It doesn't hurt to just start from something as rudimentary as a chart with something as simple as that. If you're having issues, I really doubt it. It seems like you both have a good grab on family trees. Yeah? There's no issues. I would hope not. Because if you are, you can say. What? Something
Iota Kappa actually.
is
Sorry,
good.
Iota Kappa actually doesn't.
It does what? You cut out, Brittany. I didn't hear the last part.
Sorry, we don't have completed family trees. A historian from like a while ago started it, but it's not finished. Needs to be updated.
Sad. Well, if you want to start somewhere,
Yeah,
I would say start from the most recent and back down would be my recommendation. Like starting from like your most recent class and their littles, and then go backwards. If you don't think, or if you can't go start from the beginning, or but another historian has kept records of the family trees, it may take time for the other historian to look for all that stuff, but definitely starting from what you have is what you should start with. And then at least you have something to go off for. So, does that help at all? I can't
yeah,
tell.
yeah,
Because it's not easy starting or finding a place. Because
yeah,
historian's kind of like one of those positions where you can do as much stuff as you want with it. You can make the most out of that position, or you can do the least amount of work. I've seen both sides for historian. In fact, I remember when I was first joining, the historian used her phone to take pictures of service projects, and then that was it. And she didn't do much after that. And then I asked, like, oh, we have family trees. What does it look like? Didn't have it. So I started working on it, starting from what I knew, and then started getting as much information out of it, and then kept working on it, kept getting more people to work on it, and then we finally started with our alpha class and got there. So that's how I would do it. We're also younger, so yeah. AJ, you look like you wanted to say something. No? You guys have any questions for us? Like anything you want to ask us? Because we got lots of tools. We have like a uh, document history and stuff, like where you can start from it, what has worked for us, places to look for information or whatever. I'm going to share that right now. Just gotta find it. There it is. Because we have that, get it started. It's also not easy talking about history. It's more of doing it is the issue. Because when you're doing history, you're recording what's going on. Well, no, you're recording what's going on in a creative way. I'm gonna say it that way because we do have secretaries. I've done both, secretary, historian. But the historian's the one I would think would be also responsible of going to events, or having somebody be there for events to make sure those are recorded as well as keeping the past records of the history. At least that's how I see it now, if that makes sense. And that's like a really important thing because it's much more interactive for historians or for a history committee or for like alumni and history officers because that's all I have right now. There's not enough historians or history positions in TBS, so I get to work with alumni and history officers together because they're too small. So that I put them together, and they're both connected too because they both have information in a different context. I can't talk. So for me anyway, that's how I put them together. And I've been talking to both of them about stuff like this, so that's what's been going on. AJ, do you have any last words? Because that's all I got for this.
Mob thought you should all go to see.
So where?
It's gonna be pretty good. We have Natalie and I have an awesome workshop planned. So. as do the other officers. Yeah, but I think like back to just a reminder that Natalie and I are here to help you guys, and we definitely want to help as much as we can.
Oh, before you go, how do you guys feel about having like what do we call it? Historian lunch? Or no, historian dinner.
At DLC.
Or if you're going, I hope you go. I hope y'all go. To
Wait,
DLC.
the what? Oh, DLC. Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd
Like
be
we
fun.
want to
Someone
do that.
remind me their DLC this year.
You should try. It'd be really fun.
Someone remind me where it is.
Slow, Cal Poly.
Okay.
It's gonna
Alright.
be so fun.
Let's see if I can make
It'll
that.
be good. But I think I love DLC. I've had a lot of fun at it, and I'm really excited just because, you know, working like I said, like working with Natalie. I'm not very historian stuff isn't necessarily my forte, but it's definitely Natalie's. And so I learned a lot tonight as well. Yeah, it's good. As Don would say, it's Gucci.
But
Reaction from everybody.
yeah, like we just wanted to do this for an hour, and if you guys really do have any questions, my email's wdvpsp@tvsigma.org. If you don't know, so you can contact me about anything. I do love history, but it's also kind of boring because you need to be doing it instead of just recording it or researching it. That's just a lot of doing. So if you have any questions or something or anything, you can ask me or AJ. So we can help you if you need it. I hope there's something you can take away from this. So yeah, that's pretty much it. But yeah.
I'm already gonna finish. So,
Yeah?
alright. Good talking to you guys.
Woo! We finished! Woo!
I'm gonna stop the broadcast right now.
Bye.
Bye.